Wait a minute, what am I doing? Two men and a what? Two friends from film school, one who graduated, one who did, and they decided to make a podcast. Okay, this has never been done before, right? Okay. This is Matthew and Harrison's Two Men in a Movie. It's not what it sounds like.
Also, we're 2 minutes into recording and you haven't complimented my haircut.
Okay, sorry.
I'm very
nice
harmed.
Nice haircut.
Look at it.
You dropped the mullet.
Yeah.
Oh.
For nap reasons, mmostly. Because I kept messing up anytime I lay my head down.
Okay.
So I was like, maybe I should cut off the back so I can, when I wake up from a nap, my hair isn't all wonky. There's a lot of hair cut off. And it also dries fast now, instead of taking roughly 4 hours to air dry.
Yeah, I mean, that'll happen with shorter hair.
Yeah, it's nice. I forgot. I use less nut in my hair. I'm using some nut in my hair.
Yeah.
It's like a granda, a gaba, a gava.
Agave?
No, it's not a nut. I use it every day. Agarva?
Sure. Just you use a nut shampooing your hair.
No, I use a nut oil.
A nut oiling your hair.
Yeah, to trap the moisture. And it's really been changed in my life.
How?
It makes my hair a lot easier to work with. It once you put the nut in your hair, and it just kind of like holds together better. It doesn't frizz as much. It's good for your hair too.
Yeah?
Makes it strong. Next time I go to the doctor, I guarantee you they're going to be like, your hair's so strong.
I don't think they'll comment about it in the doctor.
You don't get a hair exam when you go to the doctor?
No.
I always get a hair exam. They always take one hair and they like look at it in a microscope and pull on it and stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
It's very important. I am Polish, so we do have like the whole hair where they get head hair, body hair, and pubes, and because that's a big sign of like health in a Polish person, like a dog.
Yeah.
How the sheen of their coat, like the body hair of a Polish man can tell you much about their general state. Like I know my uncle wasn't doing so well, and he went and got a hair exam. And they took the hair samples, and he wasn't eating enough kibasi.
Ah.
Yeah, so he had to take kibasi supplements, little pills with little kibasis in them. They make them real small and stick them in there.
Okay.
Oh, just your headset.
I mean, everything is plugged in right. I'm checking if it's my headset.
You should get like a Neuralink upload, but not by Neuralink. You should make your own. You should make your own brain hookup thing that you can plug into like recording devices.
No.
So it just goes to you directly, which would help you because you're partially deaf.
I'm good, thank you.
And also, like, you can put that on like applications for like film work. Is like, yeah, sure. Yeah, okay, I've seen these other people's resumes, but do they have a direct link to their brain for film equipment? You can get what ports are these?
XLR?
Yeah, you get XLR ports.
You really didn't retain the most basic information from our degree, did you?
Honestly, I know what they look like, so I would just look for the cable that looks like that.
Okay.
I was actively using cables and not remembering what cables they are.
Good for you.
I don't need to know all this nerd lingo, all right? I just get the one that looks like that. You can look at cables when you buy them or grab them. You go, this is the cable I need. And you plug it in and it works. The amount of things I did, like when I was getting an A+ in motion graphics, I probably couldn't have told you like the names of anything I was doing in that program. Like I couldn't explain to you verbally how I did what I did with like proper wordage. I clicked on the thing, and then the thing that's there in that menu, I did that. I don't absorb lingo very well. To this day, even at work, someone said like a pretty common abbreviation apparently. And I'm like, I have no idea what that is. And they explain to me, like, oh yeah, the thing I use every day.
Okay, good for you. It's working out for you.
Yeah, it's working out. You don't need to know the names of things. Common misconception. They teach you that in elementary school as part of indoctrination, but you don't need to know the names of anything really, as long as you know what they look like. I don't need to know the name of the yababa nut oil I put in my hair. I mean, like, I'm just like, proper nouns aren't real. Like the names of things aren't real because there's different languages. And so, like, nothing really has a name, if you think about it. It just has what we're calling it. Like, that group of people's calling it. Because I'm sure they don't call it XLR in France.
I don't know what they would
They might call it in France. They don't call it in China. They don't have the letter X.
Sure.
They don't use the Phoenician-derived alphabet. It's Roman. It's Greek, isn't it? It comes from Phoenician. Phoenician's basically Greek, right?
I don't know, dude.
What's your opinion on the Phoenicians? Are they Greek?
The Phoenician scheme was not for me. That's my whole opinion on Phoenicia.
How about Macedonia? Do you think Macedonia is Greek?
No, that's in Ohio.
No, the original.
That is the original.
Sorry, the sequel in the Mediterranean region.
I don't need to know that one.
Do you think it's part of Greece, Macedonia, where Alexander the Great is from?
No. Oh, Alexander the Great's from Ohio. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Chalk another one up, baby.
Do you think it's Greece?
No, I think it's Ohio.
Trying to bait you into making a really, really political take. I was trying to get the entire Macedonia community in the world to hate you. It's very contentious if you say Macedonia is part of Greece.
Oh, really?
Mostly because Greece keeps trying to absorb Macedonia. Because like, you're Greek. And they're like, no, we're Macedonian.
So it's a China-Taiwan thing?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
I think there's more separation. Even like more like... I think it's more like if Hong Kong was saying that like China was Hong Kong.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha.
Like I think the only part like it's been part of like Greek empires. And I might be wrong, but I think the only time it's been part of like the broader Greek empire, whatever world control has been when Macedonians took over everything.
That's so fair. Taiwan is how I know that John Cena speaks Chinese.
Yeah. That's pretty nuts.
Well, yeah, it's one of those that like it makes perfect sense. One, because he's a he believes in the hierarchy. I don't know, I forget what the term is, but like he believes in the hierarchy and his place as like an employee of the boss.
Yeah.
There is a
capitalist
term. Yes, but no, there is like there is a term and I forget what it is.
Bootlicker.
But the fact that he went over as many times as he did for work and I never thought that he didn't learn the language, like insane of me. It's how fair, I
would assume most wrestlers wouldn't have learned the language.
It depends on how popular are they and how often do they need to go. I think most wrestlers, if you go to a place more than 3 times a year and spend more than a month out of the year there, then you learn the language just like one by picking it up, but like you at least learn basic survival language. It's like how Ben Affleck speaks fluent Spanish because apparently as a kid he like did commercials in Mexico.
Huh.
and there you can see clips of him on Mexican TV as an adult, not a child, but you can see clips of him on Mexican TV and he's speaking fluent Spanish to the host. And
couldn't be me.
it's just one of the like
you could drop me in China
that Boston boy and that like the words coming out, and
does he have the accent?
He has less of a Boston accent when he's speaking Spanish,
but still
he doesn't have no Boston accent when he's speaking Spanish.
I mean, you could drop me in China for 10 years and come and check in on me and I probably still wouldn't know the language.
Why?
I'm really bad at learning languages.
Sure, but
I'd have learned to swear, and other than that, I would have gotten by mostly by vague motions and noises. I'm just not great at languages. I'm really bad at learning languages.
Sure. I think you would pick things up naturally. You would, even if over 10 years, you would word associate or phrase associate a lot. I'm not a person who thinks that like in order to really learn a language, you just need to immerse yourself in the culture. I think if you're going to visit a place for an extended period of time, you should have a basic grasp on the elementary levels of the language, if that's like a thing you're trying to do. But I do think that like being completely submersed in with people who don't speak English, you will learn to communicate.
Because I feel like I'm also you're gonna run into the thing where they're just gonna speak to you in English,
maybe, or
like
they one of those cultures that you have to like attempt to speak their language poorly before there's like, okay, you try.
Maybe,
like
see, the thing is, I feel like there'd be one of the cultures that want to who want to use the opportunity to practice their English. Because I know because there's the one where that they'll just speak your language, where they want you to try to speak their language, or that they're going to try to speak your language. Is like the three. Because there's some places, I want to say, I forget where it was. I was reading a story about someone where they're like, I'm so excited to practice my blank. And they get there and every single person's like, you speak English? Oh, I can practice my English. And they're like, fuck. God damn it.
No, I know. I have watched videos and like listened to podcasts
Or maybe,
for years.
I mean, it's China. They'll probably just give me a translation dog.
Yeah.
They'll give me like a standard UBI, a translation dog that speaks Chinese and English. Parentheses American. That's right. The dog specifically is trained for American English and an apartment.
I don't know enough. I know from like watching people, like watching podcasts and listening to podcasts of like people who live in Japan or had to move to Japan for work. They're like, no, like you should learn the language. They don't. Yeah, no, they will speak
100%
Japan.
They
don't want to.
Is like that. Well, also I think they're just really kind of rude because so many of them are like killing themselves because of either there's no one to take care of them because they're old, or they're young and still working and they're like, time to kill myself and to contribute to the national, like one of the highest suicide rates out of any country. They're very dour, insular people. China is big and welcoming.
Yeah.
China invented pasta, Olive Garden, where your family. So just a skip and a jump there. I'm gonna become a real pro-China guy, I think.
So you're gonna be John Cena? Establishment. He is pro-establishment.
He's pro-establishment.
Yes.
I'm not necessarily supporting all of their political decisions, but I think as a general society, they're doing better than us. Plus, they made it a hangable crime to be a pedophile, so that rocks.
That's pretty rad. It's like they
cured like 5 cancers and then started hanging pedophiles.
That's pretty rad. It's like the British Crown fucking charging is it Andrew or
Andrew?
Yeah. I would say who's.
They're only charging him because they already stripped him of everything.
Okay.
If he was still in there, I'm not giving the fucking crown of England a single fucking inch. Fucking monarchists.
Listen, I'm not approving of anything they're doing. Like, I'm not approving of the monarchy. I do think fucking charging your royals.
Did you see they're like, he's not a royal anymore.
Sure, he's okay.
They stripped him of the prince title. The man formerly known as Prince. They stripped him of his fucking title. Very specifically, not a royal.
Sure.
And then the royal, a king, whatever, George, was sitting on his little fucking golden throne with his little diamond hat and all his gold and shit, saying, "Oh man, we have a cost of living situation in this country." Like, you piece of shit. Ugh. You know who doesn't have a king? China.
Sure.
It's a country of the people for the people. I saw this post where someone was like, the only reason you think China is doing well is because of their social media, which is being controlled. And someone's like, I don't think 1.4 billion people are being performative for white people on social media. Like, there definitely is like a level of authoritative control, but like, I'm not sure any American has the right to judge that. What are you talking about? Even if they're not more free than us, they're just as free as we are. How many people got canceled because of like Charlie Kirk stuff? Not canceled, but like fired, I suppose is the better term. A lot of people lost their jobs over that.
I was going to say a handful of people got fired for sure. It was like no one got canceled. Like, I can't, maybe I'm wrong. I cannot think of a single person like who their job is entertainment, who made a comment, who
I've heard of like a lot of people like
banned.
getting in a lot of trouble for work for saying stuff on their social media about it.
Sure.
And now they're making a highway named after him. They're also passing the Charlie Act or trying to in New Hampshire to keep out the LGBTQA plus and the woke agenda out of our kids' schools.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to pass, but yeah.
And it's like, but tell me that China isn't free. Mao was right. I'm going to get a big portrait of him and hang it somewhere in this apartment. Maybe I'll get a baby picture of him for my baby picture wall.
So it's going to be
Cameron, you, Brandon, and Mao. Welcome to the Two Men in a Movie podcast, where each week one man shows another man a movie he can't believe he hasn't seen. As always, I'm your great supporter of the great People's Republic of China. Come save us. Come take over our country. That's what I want, actually. Would you be down for that?
Whatever fixes the problem. I'm willing.
It's a good attitude to have. A man who is advocating openly on recorded media for China to overthrow our government, Matthew Olenchek, joined as always by my co-host, co-husband, and co-communist, co-party member.
Sure, absolutely.
Harrison Poole. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm gonna probably get a text from Mel about this.
Insane.
I don't feel like she's pro-China. She might be. I'll find out when this episode goes live.
Dude, I don't know what it is today, but my tics have been like real bad. They were
Topical.
Yeah. Honestly, not a segue, but just a fact. Like, I don't know what it is today, but like it's been crazy.
They're making. I saw some. I didn't retain this information at all, but they're making something. Could be a device or a pharmaceutical that's supposed to help with tics.
I'm on medication. It works about 40% of the time.
Maybe it's a device then.
Maybe I would have to
you
look
know
it
who
up.
has Tourette's?
Yeah.
Billie Eilish.
Yes, I knew that.
I just figured to sound this out.
And yeah, I knew that. My meds work about 40% of the time, and basically every doctor I've talked to has been like, that's the goal. That's what we can hope for. But no, it is. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I'm just tired or like what's going on, but I have been ticking nonstop and it's real annoying. Like, I don't know how I'm probably going to edit this fine because they're like quick, but I normally edit my ticks out, but for some reason today it's just been a lot.
Yeah, I mean, they're mostly like thinking noises and movements. So you only got to worry about like one of those for an audio medium.
Fair enough. No, but yeah, it is. I guess it is topical. Did you hear the story about what went down to the BAFTAs?
Yeah. It's fun. A lot of good discourse around it.
I would argue there's a lot of discourse, not a lot of good discourse.
I think it's all
there's some good
It's
discourse.
good discourse because there's roughly 5 different angles the discourse is coming from. I love a situation where if you have to choose like. It's not like a binary. Like, this was wrong, this was right. Like, you have to pick like a faction, like it's a video game. You have to choose what guild. Like, it's a Skyrim, and you're like, which guild am I going to join?
I think that's the issue with we as a culture right now, is that we are not mature enough to have a full intersectional conversation and conversation online that centers both race and disability, and
also the obligations of media.
And the obligations of media. I just
BBC didn't cut that, but they would cut someone saying like Free Palestine.
And they cut a homophobic thing.
Did he say Free Palestine?
He said Free Palestine.
I thought you just said Free Palestine.
No.
Like a southern drawl.
No, I mean, I don't
think
a
country dude who's really like, now I don't think Israel has a right. Free Palestine.
But no, they also cut one of John Davidson, a Tourette's advocate. They cut a homophobic tick that he had earlier or later in the show. So
but they left that in.
So they cut the homophobic tick and left in the N-word. And have you read his second statement?
I haven't read any of his statements.
Okay. His first one's bad. It's not like I
vaguely heard he didn't apologize.
No. He basically explained that the tics are involuntary and that he is mortified that it happened, and he excused himself midway through because of the disturbance. At no point did the words "I apologize" or "I'm sorry" come out of it, out in the statement.
It's kind of wild because like if you do something by accident, like you apologize.
Sure, his second statement is better. He doubles down on the tics are involuntary, and they are.
Yeah.
But he So he explained, one, that the BBC had told him they were going to cut all of his tics, that like they were never going to be a part of the broadcast. 2, he was sat 40 rows back so that no one on stage would hear him and that he would not cause a disturbance. And 3, they pointed a microphone directly at him. So the BBC set him up for failure. Do I think it was purposeful? I hope not. Do I think that it was negligent? 100%. And he had like
it's the BBC.
Yeah,
So I
with the BBC.
thought you were about to promote you like as a Tourette's man. Harrison Poole, feel like I can put forth the conspiracy theory
No,
that he is
100% no.
using his Tourette's as a smoke screen.
No, absolutely not. The BBC. Do I think it was intentional? No. Do I think it was negligent on so many levels? Yes. Like, yeah. I'll explain. I
feel like he could have dodged a lot if he also just like put like even just like sorry
in his second statement.
in a second.
He explicitly stated he does not apologize to the public, but he said that he reached out to Warner Brothers to personally apologize to Michael B. Jordan, Delroy Lindo, and Hannah Beachler.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anything went through, but he at least made the effort to apologize to the individuals that were affected.
I just would have done it in his first statement. I would have just been like, I want to apologize. It's involuntary,
I would too.
but I would like to apologize to Michael B. Jordan because, like, to do a heightened comedic version to emphasize my point. If I had uncontrollable shitting myself,
Sure.
and I'm at my friend's house and I shit myself, I'm like, fuck, sorry, dude. Like, if you accident, because like it's involuntary accident are close enough that like if I accidentally spill something, I'm still going to be like, sorry. I'm like, it's an accident. Or better yet, if I have crazy arm Tourette's where I knock things over like a cat.
Yeah.
I knock over someone's drink, I'm gonna be like, sorry. I'm
Sure.
be like, it's involuntary.
I get his mindset of, and especially as someone who has the tics and has had various tics throughout his life, like different ones. I've never had like the screaming, cursing tics, but I have had like just weird phrases.
Fingers crossed.
No, I hope not. Honestly, this whole situation has made me very thankful that that's not the kind of Tourette's I have.
2027, Harrison's new tic, the N-word.
But I do understand the idea and the mindset of, and I think it's wrong, but I get where he's coming from, where it's, I have been forced to apologize for this thing my entire life. It feels like you're making me apologize for being disabled. And that is not what they're asking him to apologize for. I understand that that's what, like, if that's what he's thinking, why he's thinking that. Because, like, again, asking the disabled person to apologize for being disabled is wrong.
I'll even take the harsh, edgy stance of saying if your disability is calling black people the N-word, you should be apologizing to them.
Yeah.
Like, even if that's your whole disability, you have a fucking little handicap sticker because you will just randomly call black people the N-word, you got to apologize to them for that. And you shouldn't apologize for your thing, but like in this it's this very specific situation.
It falls apart in the extreme.
If he was yelling out like fuck or like,
which he was,
even just going like queer would need less apologize than saying what is the worst word.
Yes, 100%.
The John Mulaney bit of it's the worst word because we have a euphemism for. If you're saying something that there's a euphemism for, you have to apologize for that.
I agree with you. I also understand the mindset of I need to apologize to the individuals. I don't owe the greater community shit. Do I disagree with that? Sure.
Yeah, I don't think he owes them, but I think as a person in the public eye,
yes,
you got to make a statement saying like, even if you're not apologizing to them, even if you're saying even if the statement isn't like I apologize for saying this, even if he makes if he apologizes to Michael B. Jordan in private and then makes a statement where it's like I would like to apologize to Michael B. Jordan for this, you don't have to direct it at the audience. You don't have to say apologize to everyone, but just like put it out there. Because you just it's the worst word, buddy. It's the one situation which you got to apologize for.
Yeah, and assuming that Warner Brothers put them in contact, I assume he did privately. He stated that he was in contact with Warner Brothers in an attempt to get a hold of Michael B. Jordan, Delroy Lindo, and Hannah Beachler. That like
I just assumed everyone everyone in Hollywood has each other's phone numbers, but I realize that's probably not true.
That's not even kind of true. Also, he's not in Hollywood.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right. I forgot.
But also, that's not true that everyone in Hollywood has each other's phone numbers.
I'm just saying. I feel if if Tom Cruise wanted to text Billie Eilish, I feel like he could just do that.
He could get a hold of her agent probably
I feel like we have a
very
special
quickly.
contact app.
Maybe. You know what? I'm not
Right?
getting conspiratorial. I don't know.
I'm putting on my
Do
tinfoil
you
hat.
think that they have Raya for just
My
random
conspiracy is that every celebrity is in a big group chat and they're all friends and they all play board games together.
contacts? Okay. But no, I also, my brother mentioned this, that this is just a true fact. We as a culture need to get better at apologizing, and that we as a culture need to get better at apologizing, but figuring out how to apologize even when there was no malice behind your actions.
You know who's good at that?
Who?
Chinese.
Sure. But he could have said something. He could have doubled down on the whole, this is not how I feel. This is involuntary.
Sorry, just the idea of me constantly being like, sounds like you're thinking about China right there, buddy.
He could have doubled down of this is not how I feel. This was involuntary. It is a
great
condition.
It's a great teaching moment.
And with that being said, harm was still caused, and I apologize for the harm that was caused.
Yeah.
In his head, I've said it enough. In his head, he's like, I apologize to the people that I hurt. And he doesn't understand the greater harm that was
He's
caused.
forgetting his job.
Or
He's forgetting where he operates. Like as a media person, because 100%, this was just your day to day, 100%. But you're a celebrity, and so there are other standards you have to hold yourself to.
yes, if you are going to be the public facing advocate and the public facing figure of a condition, which is one of the reasons why I don't want to be. I talk about Tourette's in comedy for 4 minutes and then I move on, right up top, just because otherwise audiences will be like, what the hell?
But if you're on stage and you screamed out the N-word, you'd apologize.
I 100% apologize.
Yeah.
Yes. If you're going to be the public facing advocate, it is also partially your job to educate the public.
Yeah.
And
I feel
part of that is understanding that your actions, that your words, involuntary or not,
because
caused
you
harm.
shouldn't apologize for your disability, but if your disability sometimes causes harm,
Yeah.
if my Tourette's tick is punching people in the face occasionally, you got to apologize for that. You can't be when you are I don't feel like I need to apologize for that, and he apologized to them.
Yes.
But I feel like this is also as in Ethan's idea of what he was saying, very wise for a boy so young. I
Yeah.
think that at least once a week. I think that's a wise boy. But I feel like it ties into this kind of I'm gonna throw into the Zoomer Puritan horseshoe thing.
Okay.
But there's a lot of times where people are I don't have to apologize for that. That was my mental illness. And it's
Sure.
buddy, you caused a lot of harm.
Yeah. I do think
A wise man once said, it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility.
I do think that specific is changing. That people are willing to accept more
Thank God.
they are willing to more accept responsibility, or in the recovery.
'Cause there's that
in repair.
There's that big period where I saw someone perpetuating an abusive relationship, and they're like, well, I'm bipolar.
Yeah, no.
And it's buddy.
No, I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but I am saying on a wider scale, I do think that is a thing that is shifting.
You either got to apologize or accept you're a bad person. I'll take either of those.
All he had to say, and this is far from perfect. This is not a perfect apology, but this is infinitely better than what he gave. My tics are involuntary. It does not reflect my true beliefs in any way, shape, or form. Despite this, a community was caused harm, and I would like to apologize for the harm that was caused, especially to ABC, especially to that I have maybe even mentioned. I have reached out to you in private. However, I would also like to publicly acknowledge these specific.
It's involuntary. It does not reflect my beliefs. I'm sorry. It was the N-word.
100%. And this whole thing. so much of he's doing himself no favors. Again, as a person with Tourette's and like not corporalia, but like with Tourette's and like has done some research and knows how Tourette's works for the most part. I know that just because he shouted the N-word doesn't mean that like he means it. With that being said, they don't. And yes, that the BAFTAs announced beforehand that there were going to be interruptions and there would probably be strong language. At no point did it mention that the N-word was going to be shouted.
If I see like, if I'm watching like a BBC or like a public broadcasting channel and it says strong language, I'm expecting at most maybe a fuck.
Yeah.
Like if I'm watching an award show with strong language, I'm like, oh, they might say fuck.
Yeah.
I'm not imagining to be fucking.
Oh, they didn't announce it on the broadcast. They announced it in the room.
That
he was in attendance. He has this disorder. It means nothing. However, you may hear some strong language.
When I hear strong language, I don't imagine like it kind of is the black speech of Mordor. Like when you like. Because, like, it's such a hateful word to a group of people, but if anyone who's not a piece of shit racist who hears that word takes psychic damage from it. If you're in a room and someone screams the word, you're like, oh my fucking God. I was at a Eurogyro open night.
Yeah, you've told me this. Yeah.
Back in the day, it was a mostly white group.
Yep.
And our friend Bruce, who's black.
Sure, yeah.
And we were out there and we're like, let's go get some wings and watch some comedy. So, we're eating. And this guy comes up and keeps saying sand N-word. And like, I think he's trying to be funny because it was against like Republicans.
Yeah.
But he just kept saying it. And there's a point where we're just sitting there and we're like, Bruce, do you want to go? Because like, I want to go. This is bad for me. And it's not like the slur for me. Like it's not. I don't have a ancestral history with this word. It's not uniquely a knife to me. But like I'm taking damage. Yeah. Like if this was a video game, you would see my health bar going down from this. Sure. This sucks. Like it's the worst word.
I agree.
It's a situation where if a black person screamed it at a white person, like everyone in that situation is gonna be like, "What the fuck's happening?" Is gonna be like stunned. It's a bad word. It's a word you have to apologize for, buddy. You're doing just like you said, doing yourself no favors to be like immediately put out a press release. My bad, involuntary. I apologize.
All he had to do, and
it's the worst word in the English language,
and most people would have immediately understood. You would still get the but you would. Most people would have understood. It's just so insane.
It's just that when you don't make an apology for saying that word, it looks really bad. It's real bad if you don't apologize for that word. Again, you could have been yelling queer, and if you didn't apologize, there'd be less like, what the fuck's wrong with him? But it's like, oh, you just said the word you don't say.
Yeah, it's just insane. I want to believe that. Well, they didn't. The fact is they didn't. The thing is, I want to believe that the BBC would have taken precautions to make sure that didn't happen. But they didn't. They pointed a microphone at him, which is baffling. Why would you do that? I know it's so you can get your shocking moment. I get it.
Is it like was it live?
No. That's another thing.
It's not live?
It's not live. There was a 2 to 3 hour delay.
Oh, so there's no
where
excuse.
They cut. That's why they cut Free Palestine and the fact that he yelled pedophile at Alan Cumming.
Even if
they could and should have edited it out.
Because like if it was live, I could conceive of a situation where he shouts it and the person who has to press the big red button that like blocks out 3 seconds was like just so shocked that they were late on it.
Yeah, sure. It's not. They had 3 hours.
Who had to hit that button for a radio broadcast. I think if someone shouted the N-word, it's a 50-50 chance if I immediately hit it or if I just fucking shut down for like a second too long. Like, what the fuck?
They had 3 hours to edit it out, and their original excuse was it was loud in the truck. And they didn't hear it.
You had 3 hours.
You had 3 hours. Also, I've worked sports broadcasts for a decade. I know how loud a media truck can get. I guarantee you, in the quiet part, if you're the sound guy, you have headphones on. If
Also,
you're operating the board, or if you're operating
even if I can't hear things and I'm the video guy, I look at what's happening and go, hey, you need to cut whatever just happened. Something happened. You need to cut it. Because again, it's not like he's shouting like a homophobic slur.
Which he did, and they cut it.
Like that, you're going to get less. If someone screams that in a room, you're going to know visually that something was said.
Yes.
And you're like, hey.
They did. Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo pause and absorb it.
Yeah, like I'm like. Oh,
react so gracefully.
Hey, Oliver, because they're British. Yeah. Oliver, you need to cut something, you do. Blimey, look at the blokes.
That was a purposeful decision that they chose to keep in.
Yeah, the British are not the British. Anyone who has money in Britain is uniquely terrible. That's my take. Like everyone. American rich people are just like truly evil, but like British people are uniquely gross in it. There's a little British slime on it. They're not as evil, but there's a little British slime on it because there's all that. It's the fucking monarchy, dude. It's the aristocrats.
The BBC fucked up so bad. And yes, they're the ones to blame. Truly, in this whole situation, they fucked up the worst. The fact that we know this happened is because they fucked up the worst. This could have and should have been a very awkward moment in a room that was apologized for personally afterwards. But they chose to air it and cause psychic damage to everyone.
The idea of broadcasting it is nuts. Or the censor. You think that some censors would like step in at some point and be like, "Hey,
dude, this is so insane." This I don't actually think that like this has knocked my community's like what's the phrase, like knocked back years on rights or whatever for my community or in the public eye or whatever, but this isn't a shining moment. This isn't. I'm gonna be
honest. I think that this has neither added nor subtracted from the general public's view of Tourette's, because I imagine this is what the average person's view of Tourette's is.
If anything, what I hope this does is because it seems like he's not going to actually apologize, or like wide apology. He has chosen the private apology, which again, I understand. If he's not going to do the wide apology, what I'm hoping that this does is spread awareness, and people are able to look past the immediate psychic damage and be like, what happened? And then you Google and you look it up and you like can learn some more about it. If anything, I hope this is a learning moment. I don't know if it's going to be, but I hope that it is.
And I hope us narcissists get a learning moment someday.
Oh, believe me, most people know about narcissists.
And they know, but I feel like it's in the same way that, people are like, oh yeah, Tourette's, you just scream fuck all the time, like they don't really know. We need a public narcissistic advocate. Problem is that's like a oxymoron.
Yeah, for real.
So
I picked the movie this week.
You did.
Speaking of the N-word, I picked 2018.
Oh man. Speaking of the N-word, did Django Unchained?
Nah, I did.
Speaking of the N-word, 12 Years a Slave.
2018's Blindspotting, starring and
Wayne
co-written.
Knight.
What?
Starring Wayne Knight.
Yeah. Co-written and starring Daveed Diggs and Raphael Casal. This movie follows lifelong friends Miles and Collins as they navigate life in a rapidly gentrifying Oakland during the last 3 days of Collins' probation after he served jail time for a violent felony.
And also Wayne Knight's there. Just, I don't know, every time he pops up in something, he draws all my focus. Like when we watch 5 Minutes of Phrase 2, I'm like, is that fucking noob? The rest of the movie, I was thinking about him.
He is in one scene where he plays a person who owns like an art gallery, and he's moving out of
kind
Oakland.
of like a quirky photographer.
Also, they are Collins and Miles are movers, so they are actively participating and profiting off of the gentrification of their own city, which is I love a lot of what this movie has to say. I love that there's like, at no point do they really make, yes, they have the scene where they're in the house throwing the football and the dude's talking about like how sad it is that the city is being gentrified, but at no point do they like actually acknowledge their part in it. Which
it is good. I'm emotionally different to it. I think it's very well made. I think I have a lot more like intellectual things to say about it.
Yeah.
I have realized that movies where I'm like, they want you to care about someone are movies I emotionally connect with less.
Sure.
Hey, we just had the Tourette's talk. I'm going to spend an hour talking about narcissism all of a sudden. But no, it is a thing I noticed. I'm like, I was like halfway through this movie, I'm like intellectually, I'm like digging this, but emotionally I'm getting nothing out of it. I'm like, oh, it's because it's about like someone's personal story, and that's just not bouncing off me.
Oh.
Well, it is bouncing off.
No, I got you. Yeah,
it's not soaking in like a Mormon.
Sure. This was directed by Carlos Lopez Estrada, who did a bunch of music videos for artists in that scene. This movie also, I'm gonna check my notes in a second, but this movie also has like a bunch of cameos from their friends and like other artists that are from the San Francisco, Oakland Bay Area. But Lopez Estrada would go on to direct the movie Summertime, but he did the Raya the Last Dragon. So he went on to have like, in addition to doing other music videos, he went on to have like a big career after this. So this movie exists because of Hamilton, basically. That Hamilton blew up and all of the popular people got to make their at least one passion project, and then depending on how well that passion project did, that they could like stretch it into however. Like Leslie Odom Jr. got to make his jazz albums. And Daveed Diggs got to make this movie that he'd been writing for a decade with his friend Raphael.
Very character coded.
What do you mean?
I don't know if you said which actor from Hamilton released a series of jazz albums. Like, there's a good chance I'm gonna be like the one that played Burr.
Sure, yeah.
Like, not even knowing who the actors are. It could be any production. It could be a high school production. Sure. The one that played Burr, right? That's the jazz one.
Yeah. This movie is directed by... Okay, so this movie uses heightened language of freestyle rap. I've heard it described as a musical. It's not a musical. It's that in order for these two characters, sometimes they cannot like emotionally say the thing that they need to say. Like in order for them to process their thoughts, it needs to come out in verse, basically, which is why like there's like a heightening of it throughout the movie.
Typical male behavior, unable to talk about their feelings unless they're rapping.
I mean, hey, at least they have an outlet.
Yeah, no.
And another thing that Diggs and Casal have explicitly what they like about this and have pointed out is that they're not aspiring rappers. That is not a thing. It is just because of the city and the culture they grew up in. It is just a thing between these two friends that when things get difficult to talk about, you either scream in a parking lot or you freestyle rap while pointing a gun at the cop.
It's like how like pretty much any two white people in the 90s, if they couldn't get their emotions out, they would sing it like a creed.
Sure, or they would just fist fight.
Either fist fight in the parking lot or be like
or drink themselves into a stupor.
That's the same thing as singing Creed.
No. So they rap. They when they need to say something like specific or an emotional, they speak in heightened verse. And the first time this happens is very casual, just kind of like to drop you into their relationship, that this style of talking. And then it gets more and more intense as the movie goes to, at the end, Davi Diggs playing Collins is freestyle rapping at a cop while pointing a gun at him.
Which is also how you get into heaven. It's also kind of like how everyone in the film program, if they needed to like talk to, like emotionally communicate to someone, we all did it through bits.
Yeah, that's yeah.
I still do it through bits.
I know, and I know it's upsetting. Some of us emotionally
I'm
developed.
most emotionally truthful when I'm doing a bit.
Yeah, I know. It's unhealthy. Anyway. So, you didn't really attach to the emotional arc of these two characters, but real quick, just to explain the emotional arc of these two
It's
characters.
a good emotional arc.
Yeah.
It just requires caring for people that I'm just being exposed to.
Sure. So again, the movie is these two lifelong friends as they experience and navigate a rapidly gentrifying Oakland, in a place that they were born and raised in. Miles is a white man, Collins is a black man, and it's an exploration of Miles looks like the gentrifiers. He looks like the community that is taking over his home. And so to other like black people in Oakland, he or like to other Oakland originals, he looks like their gentrifier, their oppressor, and he gets misread as that,
which is such an interesting thing to like.
And so
add to it.
Yes.
That's not something you ever think about when it comes to gentrification.
Right.
You never think about like because it's not the biggest plight there, but it's definitely like a fucking plight for people.
Yeah. And he is stereotypically like what you would imagine like more of a street thug from Oakland. He has the grill. He like puts on he doesn't, the thing is, I would say he puts on a ghetto affectation, but he doesn't. Like it just literally is his accent. Because he was born and raised there. Yeah. And he
does play up everything.
Sure, but because he feels like he has to. Because he wants to be known as I'm from here.
It's why people sometimes say I have like a gay affectation to my voice. It's because literally 50% of everyone around me growing up was gay, like in a very kind of like
like
that stereotypical 90s community way.
Yes. And this comes to a head.
And that's why you say y'all.
Yeah.
Because you grew up in a town of cowboys.
Sure. This comes to a head at Knox's coworkers party, but Collins is a black man who served 2 months in, I want to say Santa Rita for a violent crime of beating. When he was a bouncer, he beat up he and Miles beat up a white man, but he took the call, like he took the blame for it because the cops didn't see Miles beating him up.
Really, the only realistic part of this movie is he only served like 2 months in there.
He served 2 months in jail and a year of probation. So Collins Collins is a convicted felon. And he doesn't get misread as he's from Oakland like Miles, because he's from Oakland and like no one is going to think like this white boy putting on an affectation in a way that like he's not putting on an affectation, nor is Miles really, but like Miles looks like he's putting on an affectation in a way that Collins just gets to exist in his city. But unfortunately, he's a black man in Oakland. And he's a convicted felon. So he now has to navigate the world where white people automatically have assumptions. And because of his past, some of those assumptions are correct, and he is actively trying to better himself and like move on from this. But because Miles is dealing with his own shit, that he is openly violent. He's still like violent and like gets into fights all the time. And Collins doesn't want that life anymore, but he still has like desperately wants to hold on to his best friend. But also realizes that like because of their race differences, the way they navigate the world is different, but that they both have like a very singular and very shitty plights in this city that they love, that they were born and raised in, that they call home. And it comes to a head in after Chinaka's co-workers party, where her partner Chinaka works at some like tech startup-y, or like a very like formal, more white people work there.
I think it's like a California tech thing.
Yeah, because I know that she and Collins used to work at youth radio, but I didn't know if like it was like an NPR thing or if it was like a tech startup-y thing. But it's like a tech startup-y thing, and her boss is holding like a big party at his house, and her boss is a gentrifier and looks like Miles and has Miles' tattoo, and like wants to seem like this is his home and he's a part of the city, but really if he lived anywhere he would like absorb the culture of that place too.
Hold on, like, God, imagine going to a party at your boss's house. Ugh.
Yeah.
Tech companies, dude.
This
if you want to know my strongest emotional reaction to the movie, the entire time being like, oh, this is just bad energy.
The joke throughout the whole movie is that they do not want to go to Knox like work party.
Yeah.
But due to
rightfully so,
but due to an event we'll bring up later, they are left with nothing to do, so they go. And Chinaka's partner Terry goes to the kitchen and mistakes Miles as a gentrifier, and that he's putting on this like heightened ghetto persona, and basically in Miles's head talks down to him like of you don't gotta act ghetto to hang out with us. And he does the like slap on the back, and Miles takes great offense to that. And so this comes to a head when that happens. Terry leaves, and then he comes back to the kitchen for something. Collins sees Miles stewing. Like he knows that an event that Terry described happened, and he sees Miles' reaction, so it clicks. Oh fuck. This is about to be very bad. And Miles proceeds to beat the ever-loving shit out of Terry. It eventually gets outside, and he slams his head into a car and is horrible and bloody and very brutal. And the boss, the CEO, kicks them out and says, I forget the exact verbiage, but it's something like, you got to get out of here, or something to that extent. And Miles then snaps basically and is, get out of where? This is my home. He pulls out his gun and starts shooting. And after that whole event, Collins is able to get him away, and they stop in a big parking lot and have this just like screaming match basically, where Miles was like, I've always had your back, you didn't have my back there. Well, I'm a convicted felon, and what you're doing is stupid. And it's like, well, this is my plight. I understand your plight. This is my plight. And it comes to this head of basically that Collins wants what Miles has, like he wants to be able to navigate the world like Miles is able to navigate the world, but he can't do that. And it comes to this head where he basically tells Miles to call him the N-word, and Miles refuses to do it.
He doesn't have Tourette's?
Yeah. He refuses to do it because to him it's disrespectful. And then Collins is like, why is it not disrespectful for me to call you that then? Call me the end. Like, if we're going to be equal, if you're going to pretend that both of our plights are equal, then stand on business. And then it comes to this head where Collins basically is like, you're more of the, like, you are the street thug N-word that the cops are looking after, and I'm going to be the one that's going to get killed for it. I already went to jail for you once, and next time I could die because of it. Everything leading up until that point, and that both of these characters' arcs, like, you see them in a very, this movie's only like 95 minutes, but so much like that arc emotionally happens so deeply and quickly in a way that I know you didn't like care or travel about, but like I was enthralled like pretty immediately. Where like I was just watching these two characters and then their arcs come to the head, and then there's the end where he raps at the cop, which we will get to. But just when this moment collides of these two people who are childhood friends, where they both realize that like they love each other, but they experience the world differently, and that Val, Colin's ex-girlfriend, has been telling him throughout the movie a couple times that he needs to get rid of Miles. And I don't think it's really until that moment when it kind of clicks for Colin that like, maybe I do. That like, this is my best friend and I love him, but he's going to get me killed. And Miles is there like, this is my best friend and I love him, and he's not on my side right now. And also I am now, for the first time, like, I see that he went to jail for my actions. Also, he could get killed for my actions. That scene is so well done. This movie was written over the course of like 9 years, and supposedly that scene was the only thing that never changed. That was the only thing that was in like the moment,
like draft one.
Yeah, draft 1 to 9 years later, the final product of the movie. Supposedly they filmed that scene was like twice as long, but they were able to cut it down to just the barest essentials of it. But that was what this movie was always leading towards. Even before the like shooting of the black man of Randall Marshall, and even before that was a part of the movie, like that scene always existed. Throughout the movie, early on, the first day we beat them, Miles buys a gun. And Colin is not allowed to. Miles buys a gun to protect his family. He's not doing it on some tough guy shit. He truly thinks that this is the best thing to do for his family. And Colin's being on probation is like, yo, either keep that shit away from me or don't tell me about it. Give me plausible deniability. And the first night before he has to make it home to the halfway house for curfew, he sees a cop kill a black man at a traffic light. He like freezes, and another cop screams at him to like get going, and he goes to the halfway house and is just trying to process everything that happens. And at first he's very casual about it. Like the next day he's like, I saw a cop kill a black dude last night, and just tells the story very casually. And then over the course of the movie, you see like it really start to impact him, that this could have been him. And that Randall also had a felony, and that just like Randall, the only people who would care would be his community. That the rest of the world would view him as a convicted felon, who half the world would like think he deserved it. Just a fun fact, just a mini fact, whatever. The original character, Randall Marshall, his original name was Randall Down, and the movie before it was Blindspotting was called Running Down. And that supposedly in an earlier draft, that was like a much bigger part of the movie. That it was like it's a big part of the final product, but like
it's more forefront.
Yeah, in an earlier draft, that was basically what Colin's arc was about.
That draft would be taken and turned into Hooded.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was called Running Down. But this movie's called Blindspotting because of Val is a child of immigrants. Colin's ex-girlfriend. She's the secretary supervisor of the moving company that Miles and Collins work for. And she's studying psychology to try and like better herself. Also, Val and Colin's relationship is so masterfully, beautifully done. I really want to get to it. But she's studying psychology, and Rubens vase is a thing that like it's the two faces or it's the vase, and whatever your brain sees first, like it's all of your lifetime up until that point leads to what your brain sees first. And you can learn to see the two faces, but your brain will always gear toward the original picture picture first unless you completely rewire.
It's so funny that you just said you can train yourself to see the two vases, but you're always going to see the original picture.
The two faces.
Which one's the original for you?
Well, in the movie, it's the vases. Yeah. Like, Colin sees the vase. Sorry, I'm saying from the perspective of.
I thought you were talking about your perspective.
And Val makes up slang words to, like, help her study, and she calls, like, the idea of Rubens vase blind spotting. Because you're, like, you can retrain your brain, but you're always going to have a blind spot to what the secondary, like, picture is. He also later raps about this to the cop, which I love, and as an audience member, you get what he's saying. That cop must be so confused because he didn't have the 2 to 3 days prior.
He's already confused as a man pointing a gun at him rapping.
He's using a psychological phrase, one that doesn't exist, but two that he's never heard of. Sorry.
No, it is like if I started like if I held someone at gunpoint, started singing like Creed, and started using like tabletop terms.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck's happening? Am I gonna die?
But yeah, that's why the movie's called Blindspotting. Throughout the movie, Collins is constantly getting Miles out of trouble, as he's done his entire life. But he's also trying to like better himself, which is done through like the motif of the green smoothie. And that he's trying to move on from his like violent past. And in many ways, Collins physically is holding him back, which is another part of their dynamic. That since they were kids, he's always been getting Miles out of fights.
And now Miles keeps drinking all his green smoothies, shooting guns in the air.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, there's one scene where he orders it, and he immediately just goes drinks the entire thing.
No, he takes a small
sip
this
at the end.
He takes a small sip at the end.
It happens like 5 times in the movie. Do you watch the director's cut?
There isn't a director's cut.
I watched the director's cut.
Oh, sure.
At 5 times in this movie, he goes to get his smoothie, and he goes and drinks the entire thing, and then he has to order another one.
Sure. Yeah. I don't even know where I was. Anyway,
you're talking about how he's trying to better himself. He's holding himself back.
Yeah, he's trying to better himself. He's being held back. Also, Miles visited him in prison, which Val never did. Okay. I've lost the plot on Miles's whatever. I'm pulling a pin out of Val and Colin's relationship.
Thank God. Poor woman.
Is so beautifully done that when he calls Val to rebraid his hair. The actress who plays Val, Janine, and I'm gonna fuck up the last name, so I'm looking it up now. Janita Gavankar. So in the making of like mini doc in the bonus features, that she got this part because everyone that they read for Val, they read her as empathetic to Colin's situation, and she read it as not. She read it as like, I'm not letting you, like, these are the consequences to your actions. That like, I love you and I want to be with you, but if you're not going to get your shit together, I'm not letting you hold me back, which is, I think, the absolutely correct way to read this character. But the fact that it's like when you see in the braiding of the hair and he's helping her study, and they have the moment beforehand where she's like kind of making fun of his braids, and that like, this is your identity, bruh. And Collins is like, it is. I'm not explaining this to you. It is. And she's like, well, if you got rid of them, you would, and his response, look less blamable. Like, Collins views his situation as like, yes, an action he did, but also like circumstances of the world around him. And Val views it almost solely as an action he did. And that like, when they have the hug at the end, and it is deeply like sensual and romantic, but they have to pull apart, and Val says, this is why I didn't want to come to your place. They met at his mom's, and it was neutral territory, and that like, it's these two people who deeply love each other, who are like probably should be in any other movie, but also in real life, like destined. I don't believe in like destiny to be together, but like in like movie terms, like destined to be together, and they're not, because she isn't going to let this man hold her, but that she has like this like blinders on laser focus of her goals, and as much as she loves him, he's not going to drag her down, and he is trying to get better, but also, and that he is letting Miles drag him down, which is like another thing standing in between them, that Miles hates Val. But it's
why you shouldn't have goals.
It's so no, this is exactly what you should. It's so beautifully done and like tragic that like these two people who should that in any other, that like they speak each other's language, that they like understand each other's quirks like on a subconscious whatever, that like outside of the one thing of out, like in a world where Collins wasn't a convicted felon, they would be together. And which is in the end when like their goodbye is so sad, where she tells him about Blindspotting, and he calls on the last day of his probation and asks like, when you see me, is the first thing you see the fight? And she pauses, and she pauses, trying not to say yes because she doesn't want it to be, but it is. And that pause was all he needed to know, like, that I need, like, if I'm gonna do this, I need to do this for me. Because a part of it is like, a part of him getting his life together is showing off for Val. At least like on a, like, a lot of it is him trying to not be seen as a convicted felon, but a part of it is like to show off for Val so they can be together. But that ending where he realizes like, this woman will never not see me as a violent felon. So if I'm going to get better, it has to be because I need to get better. And just that ending of like, maybe there's also a TV show that came out a couple years later that I haven't seen, but like, so I don't know what happens there, but like maybe in years that like, if he has committed,
because they show up in it. It's not about them.
No, it's about Ashley.
No, she's kind of judgy for real.
Ashley or Val? Val? Well, yeah, she has plans and she's not letting this boy drag her down. Recently,
I had to fill out a survey in preparation for performance reviews. Mm-hmm. And there was the question, do you have any long-term goals, 1 year to 6? And I wrote NA. And that's why I'm not a judgmental person.
Okay.
I get the goals thing, but like the idea of seeing someone you're I guess it just like, you know, I'm almost incapable of putting myself in other people's shoes.
Yeah.
But that, like, I don't think I'd ever, like, I could watch you like legitimately commit like a violent felony, like, and it's not even like circumstances, like you just beat the shit out of someone. And I don't think that'd be the first thing I think about when I see you.
But it is for him, because if they're together, that's reflection on her. Like, it is like, you are a convicted felon now. And unfortunately, what I want in life, I can't be with a convicted felon. I want to live a life that my parents, who were both immigrants, like, fought for, and I'm gonna make a better life for me. And because of this stupid shit you did, now we can't be together because your shit affects me too. If we're gonna be a partnership, we'll also, like, if they are gonna be a partnership, like, the two of them can't do shit together, like, or like big, like, buy a house or like rent or like any of that shit, because like they said in the first time he goes to his mom's house, why doesn't he have an apartment? Why is he gonna move back in with his mother? Is the first question on any application is, have you ever been convicted of a felony? And if yes, what is the nature? And he has.
I guess
been,
a lot of this,
and it was recent,
is colored through my lens of not caring too much about like if someone says they're a convicted felon, I'm very indifferent towards that. And if they say it's because they beat someone up, I'm completely neutral.
Because they set a dude on fire. Yeah.
You didn't set him on fire.
Sure, the fire was accidental.
Yeah, he did. When you say he set him on fire, that sounds like he fucking like threw gasoline on him.
No, but he pushed a dude carrying an on fire alcoholic drink on the ground. Like,
Still, I still would be like, whatever.
sure, but if you're gonna like marry that person or be with that person or live with that person, that's shit that
I'm gonna
affects
be
your
completely
life.
honest, I would never consider that as a possibility. Again, it's colored through my lens. I don't think if I was in a relationship with a convicted felon that I would ever consider how it would impact my own life.
Well, she does.
Yeah, until it came to a point where I would have to. I don't think it would ever be in the forefront of my mind.
It's always in the forefront of now. It is always in the forefront of her mind.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
saying a little bit judgmental.
I disagree. I think she's incredibly like. I think it's
You know who
sad,
else?
but I
You know
also
who else
think
was
it's
a
like,
felon?
What?
Jesus.
Yeah, and
I don't know. I just because I'm just saying she's judgmental, then you keep bringing up that he's a felon. I'm like, I don't. So who cares?
it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, again, I get it that like it doesn't affect him as a like that does not make him a bad person, but unfortunately the way it's even said by the halfway house guy, like, unfortunately the way he now has to navigate the world is forever going to be colored by the fact that he is a convicted felon, not only a convicted felon but a convicted felon of a violent crime. The way he now has to operate around the world is forever changed and forever negative. He will always be seen as
If
negative.
Geneva committed a felony, would you break up with her?
No, but we wouldn't be buying a house. Like, we'd figure out the situation, but like, no, but also I'm not the child of immigrants who has like a myopic goal of a better life. Like, I'm a white dude from farm town who wants to be a stand-up comedian and filmmaker for a living. Val and I are operating in two very different worlds, but also every time that Neve and I would apply for an apartment or like to rent a house, it would be a thing that would come up, and it would always 100% of the time, and it would be a thing that we would have to now figure out for the rest of
You
our
would visit her
lives.
in prison?
Yeah, sure. And she didn't, because she couldn't let herself be close to him again. Like, that's tragic that for both ends, that like his girlfriend, but ex-girlfriend by the time he goes to prison, like this woman who he truly loves does not visit him in prison, calls him a couple times, but like does not visit him. And this woman who truly loves him cannot let herself get close to him because he will forever hold her back. Like, it's beautifully, masterfully done. Both of the actors play it so well. I think it's David
saying,
Diggs
she
and
could
Raphael
marry
Casal
him.
wrote this beautifully.
She could marry him and still be first lady.
Okay, but she couldn't rent an apartment. They couldn't find a place to live
If
together.
he doesn't sign on it, right? There's got to be an apartment they can get. There's got to be some place that will have both of them.
There are places who will rent to convicted felons, probably not in their home, like not in where they want to live, like not in their hometown, not where like they can both be where they were born and raised. Like, or I don't know how Oakland works, but like Collins looked at the bare minimum like, I'm just saying this is really well done. Anyway, in addition to Miles being misread from his own home, he's also raising a black son in Oakland. He and Ashley have their son Sean, and who is, I want to say in this movie, like 5.
Either of them.
Which, yeah. I want to say he's like 5, and Collins' mom gives them a pamphlet about like how to talk to your kids about the police, and like they're trying to figure out how to navigate that. And Miles is trying to raise his son to like be a tough guy and like deeply love this place that he's from, but also he lives in fear every day that when his son is as young as 12, he's gonna get shot. Like, that this is the sad reality that they live in. It's shown in when they're on the couch and they show they're talking about Randall Marshall's murder, and they show the cop as his police uniform, and they show Marshall is his mugshot, when like Miles is like, show bruh's work photo. Like, treat, like, this is shit. This is a shitty narrative and this hurts my kid. Like, not only is he being misread, but his son, like Collins, isn't gonna be misread. And I think that's another aspect where that is like less directly mentioned but is kind of brought up in the repair at the kitchen table, but less directly mentioned, where Collins is walking away and Miles realizes like Collins is my kid, or like my kid is Collins. Like, not only is this his plight, I brought someone into this world who that is now going to be his plight. And if I'm going to get Collins killed, I'm going to get Sean killed, which this also immediately happens when Sean has the gun, like that moment of tense, like after Sean gives Miles the t-shirt, which the t-shirt says, kill a hipster, save your hood. And it's a merch from a San Francisco rapper named Watsky, who plays Tanner, the Quick Way guy. He, on his album Cardboard Castles, has the song Kill a Hipster, which is the chorus is kill a hipster, save your hood, which is a song about rapidly gentrification. Yeah. Also, in a way, the song also is like, Watsky is a white Jewish man from San Francisco, who is a Bay Area rapper. So he also looks like the people in that song. He also mentions like he looks like the people gentrifying his city. And so like that song in that shirt, just like they're telling the same story. But after that, and they come into the living room and Sean has the gun because Miles just dropped it, misplaced it.
You gotta keep your gun in a gun safe. If you got grabby little hands. Something I've learned personally. Yeah. Or something I've taken precautions for. If you bring someone into your home, or there's someone in your home who has grabby little hands, you gotta lock that shit up.
The end of the second act is Sean has the gun, and it's this really quiet, like high tense moment where he's looking at it confused, that like they've also done a good enough job that like he doesn't know what it is. He's looking at it like confused, and at one point he points it toward him and everyone is like freaking, like obviously quietly panicking, trying not to freak out Sean so he doesn't accidentally shoot himself, but also like, how do I navigate to get the gun out of his hand now? And then at one point Miles distracts his son very quickly and Collins rushes in and grabs the gun from his hand before Ashley runs in and grabs Sean.
It's nuts how much this happens like in real life.
Yeah.
Where the fuck are you leaving these goddamn guns, people? It's a toddler.
Yeah.
They're like 2 feet tall.
In Miles' situations, he didn't get a gun safe, or he didn't get any of that shit. One, probably because he was going to keep it on his bedside table, but like he just had it on him and it fell out of his jacket or anything. It's even said like at the kitchen sink scene after the parking lot when Ashley is like bandaging up Miles's hand and they're having the fight, but like not having the fight, but having the fight. And
I'm warming back up to Val. Maybe she's right.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you have a friend who just has a loaded gun in his, he can just lose a loaded gun.
The initial thing also is Ashley asked Collins that, is the gun yours? Basically begging for the gun to be his, in a way, like basically begging the convicted felon to break his probation because she doesn't want to acknowledge that her husband and the father of her child did something so disastrously stupid that could have led to the death of their kid.
Yeah, if you don't know where your gun is.
He took off his jacket so he can put on the shirt, and then his son took it out of his jacket, probably. Like, all likelihood, that is exactly what happened.
Completely understandable. But it is my belief that if there is ever a point where you don't know where your gun is, whether or not you think you do, you probably aren't the person who should have a gun.
I agree, 100%.
Like I was just like, oh my God. It's like with my grandpa.
It could have gone so poorly.
My mom found like one of his guns in her purse once. He just stuck it in her purse. And another time she found a bag with a gun in it. He had no idea it was in there. And that's when they're like, we have to get the guns away from him. Because you should know where your gun is at all times.
Yes. No argument. But yeah, they're kicked out. And the
Jesus.
fact that like Collins and Miles have their first little fight
Fucking Miles.
because Collins wouldn't take the blame for him. Where Miles was like, now I'm the father who let a gun around his kid, and Collins is like, isn't that exactly what fucking happened?
exactly
I know what fucking happened. Like this situation is fucked, and I just for a second needed it not to be, and I'm blaming you because in that moment you could have like taken the fall and you didn't. Whether you should have or not, you could have. That like I in this moment needed to not be the fuck up, and I know I'm the fuck up, but I needed to not be the fuck up, and you didn't let me not be the fuck
Yeah,
up.
return the gun. Just return the gun.
Yeah. But like in the argument at the kitchen table where Miles is like, I didn't buy it on some tough guy shit. And Ashley, like, I know why you thought you needed to buy a gun, dumbass. Like, I know your thought process and I get it. And you're probably right. But also our son could have fucking died. Like, I need you to acknowledge that. And he's like, and there's the moment of I'm sorry. And that in the end, like, I do think they are going to work that out. Yeah. And when he asked Ashley not to call him the N-word because he just had that fight, and that Ashley has the instinctive of like, I'm not going to argue with him on this. I don't understand this. And in this moment, he's not going to care in 2 days. But like in this moment, this is the thing he needs. And so I love him enough that I am going to like give him the thing he needs. And Miles is like, I love her enough that I am going to dedicate my life to that this never fucking happens again.
You should get one of the safes with the fingerprints that like pop open when
Sure.
it scans and just put that. You don't need to carry it around. I'm not walking around my apartment with my fucking gun. So much things go wrong in this movie because this dumbass buys a fucking gun and is not prepared to own a gun.
He's not prepared to own a gun, and Collins isn't allowed to be around one. Yeah. He's not allowed, one, to be around a gun, but to have any interaction with the police whatsoever, which after their fight, when he's walking away and he has the gun and the police slow down and flash the light or like flash the mirror at him, and you see Collins turn the face, and as soon as they see the face, they drive away. But like in that scene, in your head, you're like, if this goes the way it would go, best case scenario, he's fucked for the rest of his life.
Because a white man bought a gun.
Because a white man bought
the most irresponsible gun owners.
Because his best friend, who he refuses to let go, who he took the fall for the first time.
God, white people are the worst with guns. A very certain group of white people is like the worst with guns.
Yeah. The climax of this movie is
I think it's because there is that lack of worry.
For sure.
You never have to consider it.
Yep.
Like I'm not gonna say every time, but I'm gonna say like 9 times out of 10 when a kid shoots himself with their dad's gun, kid's white, because you just don't think about it. You just it's a gun. It's like, buddy, that's a lethal weapon.
I'm on your side.
I'm not saying you're not. I'm just making statements.
No, I know.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm arguing with a fictional character in a movie. Right. I'm directing this tirade at a fictional character in a movie.
So the climax of this film is that Miles and Collins, still fighting, have to move out the cop because he lives in Oakland, and it's mentioned earlier at the store when they showed the poster of the join the Oakland Police Department that Oakland police don't live in Oakland because they're afraid that someone's going to come after them, and that's why this cop is moving. He's afraid that someone is going to come after him,
and also his family left him.
Yeah. But yeah, they are moving because he's afraid someone's going to come after him. And that they then realize that it's the cop. And so Miles goes into the garage. He sees the officer. There's a quick run for the gun, and Collins pulls out his gun. I'm pretty sure this whole time I've been mistaking Miles for Collins.
I don't think so.
Okay, cool.
Oh, in this scene?
In this scene.
Possibly.
So Collins goes into the garage. When the cop makes a dash for his gun in a typical cop move, Collins pulls out Miles's gun and starts waving it like no, I'm in charge now. You killed one of us. I'm in charge
Typical
now.
cop move.
Yeah.
Typical. He reaches for the gun. On the way, he beats his wife and kills a dog. He grabs his gun.
Miles in this moment
I saw a review because I like to read reviews for these movies that we watch. And one of the reviews said that they did a really good job, like, not vilifying the cop. It's interesting that they did that. I'm like, I don't know if it's my own perception. I feel like they vilify the cop. Or maybe I just see every cop as bad.
They attempt not to vilify the cop. I also think they vilify the cop, but I also see every cop as bad.
Yeah.
So Collins, in this heightened moment, cannot emotionally express what he's thinking. And so
He's going to confuse the shit out of this cop.
he's freestyle rapping, basically stating, like, how old was he when you killed him? Randall was 26.
Most terrifying moment in the cop. Not only is a black man holding you at gunpoint, but he's rapping at you. Rap's scary for a cop.
And basically saying, like, the crux of the whole rap is, like, don't kill us. But, like, it's really like, you look at me and you see a villain, but I don't, like, I'm not a killer. You're the killer. You look at me and you see a villain, but you're the fucking villain right now.
You're the promise of state-sanctioned violence.
Yes. And it's just so beautiful. It's so beautifully done. It's this, like, talking about, like, it's also expressing, like,
It's cathartic.
you're making me feel like a monster in my own town.
It's cathartic. Like, I wish every time I saw a cop, someone would pull out a gun and rap at them. I'd feel safer.
The fact that this movie
Worst
leads
part-
to a point. Yeah.
Worst part about working at Sheets is every time a cop would come in, I'm like, I instantly feel unsafe.
Yep. So, the fact that this movie, like, basically, I know there's the epilogue of them, of Miles and Collins making up in the drink and the driving to the next move. Who is Heather Neal, who is the Oakland Raiders quarterback's girlfriend, and the Raiders are moving to Los Angeles. And that's another thing too, is that, like, even the Raiders are leaving Oakland, and, like, they're always a part of Oakland, but I have to anyway. Yes, there's that little epilogue, but this is really, like, the climax of this movie, and the fact that this movie, like, earns like the idea of a 4-minute freestyle rap.
It is nuts.
It
is nuts.
While he's pointing a gun at a cop.
This movie got made because he made Hamilton, so he could pitch that.
Yeah.
There's no other way that gets through for someone who has not made a big movie before.
It's a hard sell, and this movie does it so well. It earns it.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. It earns where the entire, you're feeling it. You're feeling everything, like, that he is saying in this moment, and that it the thing that they, like, they're trying not to vilify the cop is at the end when the cop says, I didn't mean to, and Miles says, are you sure about that? That's what they're is, like, Miles is, like, in a way giving him the out, or not even giving him the out, but, like, giving him the possibility of an out if you're pro police. But I didn't view it that way
That's what every
either.
cop says.
But I didn't view it that way either. See, I viewed his tears as a black man held a gun at me.
His tears are because he's a little fucking piss baby who's a fucking scared little coward.
Yes.
Like all cops.
But some people also read that as remorse in that moment. It wasn't.
He's remorseful because he might get killed because he did a bad thing.
Yes.
It's how every cop cries when they go to jail for just killing people for no reason.
Sure.
They go,
they don't go to jail. Only
some do.
Only like 3 of them.
Yeah, and each one cried.
I know. Sacrificial lambs at the altar of the system.
Did you see the cop crying because he got hit by the snowballs?
Yes. Yeah, they just had the cop show remorse for his actions. But he had to have a gun pointed at him to show remorse.
I really like how they
had to
didn't
have his family leave him, and that, like, he had to move out of the city. He had to face consequences for his actions, not professionally, but personally, for him to show remorse.
I really like that after killing someone and having He-Man point a sword at him, Skeletor showed remorse. It's like, you've done... Yeah.
That
I was annoyed by that.
Another thing they do is that the cop when he shoots Marshall, he genuinely has a shocked face. Like, he can't believe he did that. That is another thing they do. But also, like, fucking, he did it. Like,
Yeah. Also, that was on instinct, and your instinct was to shoot a man running away.
who shouted, "Don't shoot."
Yeah. Why are you running a man running away? What, if your instinct to shoot someone running away, it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, man, it's insane. So
This isn't a fucking video game stealth mission where if he runs far enough away, you fail.
you can definitely tell that this was directed by a music video director primarily, but also I love that, like, as much as you can tell that, and it shows up very heightened in moments, it's not crazy style. Like, it's not like the whole movie is shot crazy. It has these exact heightened moments that are like the dream sequence.
Man, imagine if the whole movie had been shot like a 90s music video.
Imagine if the whole movie had been shot like the dream sequence. It would be nauseating.
Amazing.
It would look pretty. It would be nauseating.
Amazing.
But like, you can tell in moments like the dream sequence where a lot of that scene was shot like in real time, that the lights are changing in real time. These aren't like After Effects. They're like, they did a lot of theater techniques, and the unison movement and stuff was set up beforehand, and like the way he accomplished that is the way like a lot of people accomplish it on stage. And David, in the making of, when he and Carlos were pitching it, David was like, "No, I've worked in theater for my whole life. I know this shit's gonna work. Like, I know this is gonna work."
Also, they made movies before After Effects.
Yeah,
Yeah. I know. It's just like, good on him. I love a movie made by someone who was in theater where they go, "Oh, hang on."
but like, yeah, like
Not
the camera
where they're like,
movements
not
and
everything.
everything
You
is
can
all
just do things
timed.
practically.
Yeah.
It looks better.
Yeah, dude.
I was in Hamilton. What do you think? We used CGI and screen to freeze everybody and move them in a circle? No, that was practical.
And another like visual cue that they talk about is every character's eye line gets closer and closer to the camera the further into the movie it goes. That by the end of the wrap, when he's looking directly into the camera, that if you look at the beginning of the movie, they're not looking at the camera at all. And then closer and closer throughout the movie, they get like closer into the lens, that by the end he's staring down the barrel of the lens. Just like a really like subtle visual cue. The thing is, everything else about this movie is so heightened, but also like very grounded in, like, it's grounded in reality enough that like these characters are grounded, but the way they communicate is very heightened, and the way they experience the world is very heightened. That like the filmmaking itself by Carlos Lopez Estrada is very when it needs to be, like, not boilerplate, but like very systematic, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, this is where the camera needs to be, and we're not going to be, it's non-flashy. And then there's these moments like the dream sequence which is in the courtroom, and Collins is vomiting the bullets, and basically Miles is saying that he needs to go back to jail, and the judge is the cop, and the jury are the graves from the dead people from the cemetery that Collins runs through. Moments like that are so incredibly heightened that this movie, I think, gets away with it because most of the time, or it's a very emotionally grounded in honesty. And that like you can tell in these moments that it's a music video director, but he doesn't go all, like, it's not that the entire time. I think if the movie was entirely in freestyle rap and like entirely shot in like the dream sequence, it would kind of fall apart because the emotional honesty isn't there. You need the moments of like, you need Sean having the gun, and you need Collins saying he needs plausible deniability, and you need his relationship with Val, which isn't heightened at all. It's just very like grounded and realistic. And I think because you have those, like, these very real things, that this movie is able to get away with two of some of the crazier sequences that I've seen, that probably on this pod, like two of the crazier sequences we've seen, at least recently, for sure.
Yeah, recently for sure.
it's so technically well done, and as much as you didn't follow the emotional arc, it really is like beautifully well made, and all these characters feel honest, and all of their plights feel like they feel honest, but they also feel like real, like. And no, like, Miles being a white man, being misread, doesn't feel dismissed. And it isn't dismissed because it's very real. He looks like the oppressor, or he looks like the people who are like taking away his neighborhood that he is actively participating in. And like, that is a very, and it's not only treated real, it like is real. Like it's very grounded. And I think because it has these moments, you can get away with having a dream sequence that has like has like the red lighting motif the whole time because of the traffic light of the where he shot the guy, and like you can get away with the dude rapping at the cop, like because this movie is so like grounded, you can get away with the more heightened moments.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love this movie. I love this movie a lot. I've seen it a dozen times.
I couldn't tell.
I've seen this movie a dozen times. It fucking rules. I highly recommend.
Rants for an hour about the movie. I really liked it, by the way.
So,
pretty
honestly,
good.
I'm pretty sure. Basically, we're planning planning towards the end of the show, and I would have to check. I think all of my movies that I've picked are like, in my opinion, bangers. Or if I don't think they're bangers, I would have to look. I think they're fast. They like have something fascinating to say. This movie also just happens to be both. God, it's so good.
Man, just wait till you see the Underworlds.
Listen, I'll deal with it.
You're gonna understand what a banger of a movie really is.
All right. Do you have any final thoughts?
No.
Okay. Do you want to do socials?
Yeah, I could do socials if you want to. Follow us on Instagram. 2 Men Movie Podcast on Instagram. If you want to see Harrison's soon-to-be released debut rap music video, Harrison's getting into rapping after being inspired by this movie, that will be on our YouTube, 2 Men and a Movie, Papa Pool. If you want to email us pictures of your neighborhood, 2menmoviepodcast@gmail.com.
Store in the show description, Marvin the Woo Walrus gives this two fins up. He appreciates great cinema. You can find
he loves rap too.
Yeah. You can find me on Instagram and Threads at harrisonpool.com. That's HARRISONPOOLEDOTCOM, harrisonpool.com. You can find me on Substack at Harrison Pool's Routine Maintenance, where by the time this episode is published, I'll have done my second, maybe third story. Depends on how much time I have if I do the third. If you're a comedy booker and you appreciate my not very funny but impassioned speech about this, maybe earlier in the episode when I was talking, you thought I was chuckle worthy. If you're a comedy booker or a business owner and you like want a show, you can email me at harrisonpoolcomedy@gmail.com. Please do that. I'm trying to make this my full-time job. Thank you so much to Tristan Hossetter for the theme music. Thank you guys for listening. Tune in next week for, I'm guessing, the first Underworld.
Yeah, probably.
Tune in next week for probably the first Underworld.
We're actually doing the machete order for Underworlds.
Oh?
Yeah, you do 3, then 2. You do that spin-off that came out more recently, then you do 1.
All right. So long and good night.
Hugs and kisses.
This is Matthew and Harrison's 2 Men in a Movie. It's not what it sounds like.